Okay, welcome once again. This is the second video for our assignment, which we'll find here in Schoology. Okay. Here it is. Assignments a week, February 22nd through 26th. This is the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux. This is the one-pager. Okay, boys and girls? Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is, if you listen to the first video, we took care of that for you. So this is the second video, and on this video, what we're going to do is take a look at the meat and potatoes here of this Treaty of Traverse des Sioux. I'm asking you to describe what exactly happened in the treaty. Okay? So I need you to describe a detailed step-by-step set of instructions here. Tell me exactly what happened. Right now we know the treaty, what a treaty is. It's an agreement between two or more nations. We know who was involved. It was the Dakota and the United States government. Now we need to know exactly what happened at the treaty. So for that, we need to go to pages 6.21. Okay? So in the summer of 1851, so bear with me if you wouldn't mind, everybody. And then remember, I'm doing this with you right now, and we're putting our information on Notability on that one-pager that we started, right? Here's what we got so far. Now, what we're going to do is just draw a little line. What happened at the treaty? Of Traverse des Sioux. All right. That treaty was made in 1851. All right. So if we run out of room, we'll deal with that in a little bit. Okay. So what happened? So what we got here, summer of 1851, steamboat Excelsior. You guys know what a steamboat is, right? Carries a group of Americans, including Alexander Ramsey and Henry Sibley, up the Minnesota River. This is the Minnesota River right here. Okay, everybody? So this spot right here is Traverse des Sioux. All it is literally a spot for people to cross the Minnesota River. This is the present day town of Mankato. So the spot of Traverse des Sioux wasn't very far from where we're at right now. And remember, this is Minnesota River, and it flows that way. I can draw an arrow. So, steamboat Excelsior carries a group of Americans, including Alexander Ramsey and Henry Sibley, up the Minnesota River to Traverse des Sioux. Now they were in St. Paul. St. Paul is right there. So when they say they went up the Minnesota River, that means they're going upstream. Waiting at the landing are hundreds of Dakota. So I want you to remember these two names, Alexander Ramsey and Henry Sibley. Hundreds of Dakota who have traveled from near and far to meet them. The crowd also includes a small group of missionaries, Stephen Riggs among them, who live in the area. Everyone is there to make a treaty. Okay, so what's a missionary? Well, missionaries were people, were Christians, and what their job was to convert the Native Americans to become Christians, to Christianity. What's a Christian? Christians are followers of Christ. Okay, so what do we get out of this paragraph? Well, we found out a little bit more who was involved. We found out that Alexander Ramsey and Henry Sibley represented the U.S. government, United States government. Okay? So guess what? As I'm writing this down, why don't you please write it down as well? Thank you very much. Let's keep reading. So, everyone is there to make a treaty. Groovy. Next page. Is this the next page? 622? Is this 621? Hot dog. It was. So we're in good shape. So everyone. So July 18th, 1851. After waiting a few weeks, it waited a few weeks for people to arrive. When did this process start, boys and girls? This process started in the summer of 1851. All right, so a few weeks goes by. They're hanging out at this place. After waiting a few weeks for everyone to arrive, the Treaty-Making Council officially gets down to business. Alexander Ramsey leads the United States delegation. All right, Ramsey is the boss of the United States group, a group of people who represent the United States government. Okay? He welcomes the gathered elders of the Dakota Nation's Sisseton and Wahpeton bands. Now, the Dakota family, the Dakota group of Native Americans were split up into 7 individual groups, and these groups were called bands, B-A-N-D-S. Not groups, but bands. So, here they had 2 of the 7 groups, the Sisseton and Wahpeton bands. He tells them that the United States president has heard that the Dakota are poor and hungry. He says the president is anxious that something should be done to mend your condition. He proposes that the Dakota accept money and goods for some of their land. This is Ramsey talking now. So he says, Ramsey says, hey, the president knows that you guys, the Dakota, are poor and hungry. And he thinks that, hey, why don't you guys accept money and goods for your land? We know what money is. We know what goods are. Goods are like from the fur trade. Remember things that make your life easier? Okay. Not all of the leaders have arrived yet, so the Dakota elders chose not to speak or ask questions. The council adjourns for the day. What does this word adjourns mean? That means they basically stopped working for the day. So, the first day was, excuse me, July 18th, 1851, first actual day of the treaty. Ramsey speaks, and again, I'm just summarizing this, and he says, hey, the president knows you guys are poor and hungry. How about we go ahead and give you some money and goods for your land? And what did the Dakota tell him? We're going to wait for our people to get here. We don't have all of our people here. We want to wait for them all to get here. Is this a smart decision on the Dakota's part? What do you think? They did not want to make this decision without their elders. In other words, their most experienced people there. All right, so the next day, a Dakota elder named Starface, or Weechenkite, is the first Dakota to speak to this council. He tells the United States delegation that he would rather not make a treaty. He'd rather not make a treaty until all the young men of his band arrive at Traverse des Sioux. Interesting. Another elder by the name of Sleepy Eye also seems reluctant. Reluctant means he doesn't want to do it. These are his words. Your coming and asking me for my country makes me sad. And your saying I am not able to do anything with my country makes me still more sad. Those who are coming behind are my near relatives, and I expected to see them here. That is all I have to say. As Sleepy Eye and the other Dakota elders leave the council, Ramsey threatens to stop all negotiations. Later, after the tension is cooled, both sides agree to meet again after a one-day recess. You guys have all heard that word, recess. Well, it's a different meeting here. So, what's going on after these 2 days of meetings, after July the 17th and 18th? Ramsey says he wants to get this done, and the Dakota have told him what? No, we want to wait for the rest of our people to get here. And what's Ramsey's reaction to this? Alexander Ramsey. Is he okay with this? Is he cool? No, he's mad. So what do they agree to do? They agree to just chill and take a day off from these negotiations. So we better write this down. So, see if I can score a different color here. July 17th and 18th, Ramsey starts the meeting. Starts the treaty making process. Okay? That's what we're going to call it. Process. Okay? The Dakota choose to wait until all of their elders have arrived. Before making a decision. This angers Alexander Ramsey. Okay, peoples. If you want to add to that, you're welcome to. So let's figure out what happened next. So, this is July the 17th, okay? So they took a 17th and 18th. Remember, they took a day or so off just to chill because they're getting kind of frustrated. July 21st, 1851, another Dakota elder, extended tail feathers, tells the council that his people want the government to make an offer in writing. Wow, this is smart. Wants to make an offer in writing. What does that mean? In other words, he doesn't trust somebody. So who doesn't this Dakota elder trust? You're right. I hear you. He doesn't trust the U.S. government. He doesn't trust the United States government. So he asks them to give their promises in writing. So, if somebody agrees, if you are making a deal with somebody and they make some promises to you that they're going to give you something, how do you know they're going to go ahead and do it? Well, you don't. It's your word against theirs. But if they put something down on paper in writing, guess what? You have a written record. So, this is extremely intelligent by Mr. Extended Tail Feathers. So the Dakota don't trust, whoopsie, don't trust the United States government. Okay, so make sure you have this written down too. All right, Ramsey agrees and the council adjourns. So Ramsey agrees to this. He says, yeah, okay. I wonder if I can copy this and put it there. You guys are smarter than I am. Anyway, so next day, July the 22nd, the Dakota spend the morning considering the offer Ramsey wrote the night before. Stephen Riggs and other interpreters move among the Dakota camps, translating the document. Henry Sibley and his fellow fur traders are busy trying to convince reluctant Dakota to sign. In the afternoon, a Dakota delegation hands back the document and promises to sign if certain changes are made. Okay, so let's go back to our document here, everybody. Change colors. Go with some funky green or something here. See if it shows up. Ugh, I don't know if I like that. Kind of bizarre. How's red go with you guys and girls? July. Erase that. That turned out kind of yucky. July 21st. 22nd. Extended Tail Feathers. Says that he wants the U.S. government to put their promises in writing. And remember, Ramsey says, sure, no problem. Okay, and what happens on the next day? The next day, Sibley and Ramsey are going around the crowd into the Dakota, telling them, come on, you got to sign, come on, you got to sign, come on, you got to sign. Okay? July the 23rd, the Dakota elders continue to voice their concerns about the treaty. Sleepy Eye demands that the Dakota be given a copy so they can tell whether the government is keeping its promises. Oh my gosh, this is smart. Yeah, you go ahead and sign a treaty. You want a copy of that because you don't trust the other person not to make changes. Starface says that he hopes the government will not try to change the treaty after it's signed. Woohoo! These guys are smart. All right, where's my last page? Better go over here. So, we're almost done. Okay. So Ramsey and another United States official signed the treaty. The time to decide has arrived. Despite their many concerns, the Dakota elders come forward to sign one by one. Or make a picture of this. Screenshot it, whatever you want to call it. Because I want to go ahead and get this over here. Where did I put this crazy thing? Ramsey and the other United States officials signed the treaty. The time has to decide has arrived. Despite their many concerns, the Dakota elders come forward to sign one by one. First, they sign 2 copies of the treaty. Then Stephen Riggs guides them to the end of the table, where they sign another document. Most of the Dakota seem to think they're signing a 3rd copy of the treaty. In fact, they're signing a document that says they will pay back the fur traders with the treaty money. Extended Tailfeather says he suspects the Dakota will never see much of the money promised them under the treaty. You think it's a great deal you are giving for this country. I do not think so, for both our lands, and we all get them, and all we get for them will at last belong to the white man. The money comes to us, but will all go to the white men who trade with us. Wow. So, they finally signed the treaty, and that was on, sorry about that, on July the 23rd. So, choose another color here. July the 23rd. The treaty is signed. The Dakota are worried though, aren't they? What were they worried about? They're worried that they will not see what? Will not see any money from the treaty. Whoopsie. Because the United States government made the Dakota sign a document, a piece of paper, saying that money from the treaty will be paid directly to the fur traders. See, the Native Americans had owed money because the fur trade is now over. They were in debt to the fur traders during the time of the fur trade, so they owed the fur traders money. So one reason why the United States government and these fur traders wanted the Dakota to sell their land, because they knew they would get money for selling their land from the United States government, and the fur traders were paid directly, so the Dakota believed they would get ripped off. The Dakota were very worried about being ripped off from the government. Okay? That's what happened at this Treaty of Traverse des Sioux. This is 1851. This is where the Dakota, at this Treaty of 1851, the Dakota sold a ton of their land in southern Minnesota. Okay? Just a ton of their land. And they sold it to the United States government. Did they want to sell it? No, they didn't. But they were forced to. And later on, so right here, go ahead and go back to this map right here. So here, I can go back to this map. I'll erase some of this stuff. So the Treaty of 1851 at Traverse des Sioux, the Dakota sold their land south of this line, all of this land right here, to the United States government. This land up here, northern Minnesota, belonged to the Ojibwe. Down here, this is where the Dakota lived. And this is what they sold to the United States government, the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux. Okay? It's a ton of land. So now, the Dakota have no place to live. Except for, remember we saw in that video, a little thin reservation on the northern and southern side of the Minnesota River. Okay, so boys and girls, that's the conclusion of the one-pager. What happened? What is a treaty? A written document between two or more nations. Who was involved at the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux? It was between the United States government and the Dakota. What happened at the Treaty of 1851? Well, Alexander Ramsey and Henry Sibley represented the United States government, and they were the ones who were negotiating for the government. Okay, and the Dakota were very smart in their dealings. And in the end, the treaty got signed. The United States government got their land, and what did the Dakota get? Well, they got promises. Did they get any money? Not right away, but they got some promises, and we're going to talk about that later. Make sure you have this written down on your one-pager, just like I have it, okay? This is the Treaty of Traverse des Sioux. Okie dokie. You can put your name up here, that would be nice too, because I might do something with this. Thanks, and have a good day, everybody.